this is Titan Towers. This is where Otis won Money in the Bank on the roof, where Asuka won Money in the Bank, where DX painted their logo on the side of the building.
Then we've got 2 words for ya!
I traveled to several great wrestling locations this year. I wanted to go to every WWE headquarters, but not just starting with Titan Towers. I wanted to go all the way back to the very first one. I am in Greenwich, Connecticut. This is one of the nicest places in America. It's always on the list. If you have a list of the most rich and beautiful places, Greenwich, Connecticut always falls on this list. This is the hometown of Vince McMahon.
From Greenwich, Connecticut, Mr. McMahon.
When he started his company, he started it here in Greenwich. Now, the WWF existed prior to this. His father, Vincent J. McMahon, had owned it. He purchased it. So from 1983 to 1985, they were in this building on 81 Holly Hill Road here in Greenwich, Connecticut. Take a look at this. This was Vince's ID card when he would work here at this building. So this would have been the place where meetings were held to discuss Hulk Hogan beating Iron Sheik. This was where Mr. T would have showed up to sign contracts and discuss what they were going to do at WrestleMania. This is where Howard Finkel would have approached Vince every day and said, hey, here's how we're doing with that WrestleMania thing. Even the name WrestleMania would have been created right in this building. So because of the success of WrestleMania, they moved over here to this larger location on Spring Street in Stamford. They stayed here until the early 1990s when they moved over to Titan Towers. All right, guys, I gotta admit, I didn't feel anything going to the last couple locations. It was neat that there was some history there, but this place, this is something else. So this is Titan Towers. This is where a man jumped out of the window in a commercial.
WWF attitude.
So you can see this building from the highway. You've seen it all over television. It is a glass shiny jewel. There's a big WWE flag on the top, big logo up there. It is something to see. I gotta tell you, it's really exciting to be here. Here's the gate, so it keeps people out, and I am certainly one of the people they want to keep out, but excited to see it, excited to look at it. Glad I finally got to look. This guy's going in though. This guy's got reason to be there. Behind me is the brand new WWE headquarters. This one's not open yet. They've built it. It's actually an existing building, but they're redoing everything. Of course, got to make it perfect for them. I think they're going to be not the only tenant, but this is their new space. Very big, right down the street from the old one. But this is where they're going to be doing things from now on. So very soon, they were already supposed to have done it. So this is a rare achievement to be able to get to this one with the logo in front of it and Titan Towers with the logo in front of it. So now we've seen both of them. There it is. When I was a kid, I was a big fan of the Slickster, the Doctor of Style, and I loved the wrestling albums. I loved Pile Driver, and on Pile Driver was the song Jive Soul Bro, which cracked me up. One day I thought, I wonder where they filmed this. And I thought, I wonder if it was Stamford, Connecticut. And I knew that there was a shot of a KFC bucket in the background. So I searched for the KFC in Stamford, Connecticut, and it was still there.
Everybody's talking about the hottest album in the country right now, Pile Driver, the wrestling album too, with the #1 hit on the album, Jive Soul Bro.
So the TV broadcast actually showed him eating at this restaurant. This looks to be a newer restaurant, but they've got the old bucket, which is very cool. You actually do see this restaurant in the background towards the end of the video, but he filmed the intro right inside there. And then the video would have been filmed right down here. Everything on this side of the street has changed. Almost nothing on that side has. So there's a lot to match up. The first time we see him in the video, he's emerging from this street here. And we can see all of these buildings in the background. I met this lady and I told her quite a story. Told I love her forevermore.
But the trouble is I tell the same old story to every girl that walks through the door.
He's right here on this sidewalk. The video then shows a car driving down the street, and that would have been right here. Now there is this shot, which would have been right here. You can see this building here in the background. The scene where he meets the lady at 7 feet tall, that isn't here. It was shot someplace else. I don't know where that was shot, but he's got a different outfit on. So during the video, there's a kid on a big wheel. The kid on the big wheel is riding down the street. Slick has to jump over him. There's a bunch of people running after him going, "You're a Jive Soul Bro," and they're just chanting it as he tries to walk up the street. It just was an amazing, weird video. He went down this alley. It was all completely different, totally different buildings. He danced with a guy with a boombox down here. All of that just appears to be gone. I don't see any of that. You see the Stanford Hospital in the distance from here. And later we see him go back down this alley. And down this alley, there was a big billboard. There's a giant billboard that was right over here, and a bunch of people were hanging out underneath it. And he went and sung for him. Some people liked this, some people didn't. I was thinking about Attitude Era moments and which ones I'd like to go see the locations from. And the one that stood out to me was when Big Show surfed on the back of a coffin.
What in the hell is that?
So here we are, we're in the spot. I'm gonna match up as many of the locations as I can. We are standing right where everything would have been set up, where the whole funeral area would have been. You can see the tombstones all go this way, but they set it up as if the stone would be here. So we look at this shot and you notice this stone right here. It's right there. So that whole thing would have been set up right this way. The whole green canopy, the whole burial area would have been set up in this area. And if you look, all of the stones here, 2009, 2006, rest in peace to these people. They are buried right where was once an empty area of the cemetery, and that's why they set up here. Here's a couple shots that would have been taken from this angle. Paul standing right there talking about his father. Now his father had actually passed many years before. This was an idea that they had that he thought would work, and so they came out here to shoot it. As Paul is talking, you can see Big Boss Man arrived right here down this road. You can see those tombstones there in the foreground, and he drove that Blues Brothers mobile right around here. And at this post here, you can see he turned, came right over to here where this, I don't know, crypt, mausoleum, I don't know what that is. So he would pull up, and he pulled right up and parked right here on the lawn, right in this spot. Big Boss Man got to work over here. Actually, it would have been right about here, hooking that coffin up to the back of the Blues Brothers mobile. The trees have grown up a bit, but you can see that bent tree, and you can see the fence faintly behind there, and you can see this house that's in the distance. And in some of the other shots, you can see this house right back here. So with the coffin hooked up, he starts pulling this way, and he actually drives right through here. These big rocks were here, but all of these stones, you can tell by the dates here, these are all newer than that. Speaking of cemeteries, I also got to go to the grave of one of my idols, somebody I looked up to, Gorilla Monsoon.
The challenger, 401 pounds even, Willingsboro, New Jersey, Gorilla Monsoon.
We're just outside of Willingboro. This is Lakeview Cemetery. It's got this beautiful lake. I don't know if you can see that bridge, but I gotta show you what this looks like. We're going over to the grave of Gorilla Monsoon. I'm gonna show you exactly where it is in case you want to visit, pay your respects to one of the greatest announcers and a tremendous super heavyweight wrestler. Gino Robert J. Morella, beloved husband, father, and pop-pop. June 4th, 1937 to October 6th, 1999. And next to him, Joseph A. Morella, Very sad. February 28th, 1963 to July 4th, 1994. So Joey Marella, this is a picture of Joey Marella right there in the ring at WrestleMania 3. On camera, Gorilla would always seem to put down Joey Marella. He'd say stuff like, "Oh, referee Joey Marella better get in there, better check this out." And he never acknowledged on camera that that was his son. And as a fan, I didn't even know it. The one thing I did know was that his nickname was Gino, because when he would do commentary with Jesse would always call him Gino, which I always thought was kind of like this insider thing that you knew from watching. Now, Joey Marella was coming back from a show in Ocean City, Maryland. In New Jersey, he was on his way apparently to Newark, and he crashed his car in the early morning hours, and he passed away. And he was a very young man. He was in his 30s. And this devastated his father. Gorilla, you know, was heartbroken to have his son die so young. And it was the son that he worked with. You know, his son, he had seen him regularly, you know, was very close with him. And he died in such a tragic way. Now, Gorilla had diabetes, and he had other medical ailments, and they got the best of him just 5 years later, October 6th, 99. Gorilla had stopped all of his treatment about 10 days before he passed away. He had decided he didn't want to spend his life in a bed in his house. Are you on my postcard list? Please go ahead, go to Pointless Nostalgia on Patreon. Take a look, because for $3 a month, I'll send you a postcard in the mail every single month. You could be like Michael and Jessica, Chris, Matthew Chapin, and my big brother Rob, and sign up today. I got to go to other locations, but there was a location I wanted to visit that doesn't exist, and that was out in Las Vegas. The WWE, back when it was known as the WWF. This is a look at what their casino would have looked like. You can see right here they had a Vince's Steakhouse planned. They had purchased the Debbie Reynolds Casino for $10 million. Debbie Reynolds was a famous Hollywood actress. She was married at one point to Eddie Fisher, and they had a child, which is Carrie Fisher. Debbie, in her day, was absolutely adorable. She did lots of very fun movies, but she also collected movie props and costumes.
Well, I'm a collector. So, I mean, you know, a collector always wants more.
Debbie Reynolds has been collecting Hollywood memorabilia since 1970, when MGM began to auction off their old costumes and props. Her dream to share and preserve this collection was finally realized when she opened her Hollywood Museum in Las Vegas 2 years ago.
So her casino was full of all these movie props and costumes. It was an absolute museum to Hollywood history. Because of this, Debbie was not happy when the WWF purchased it in auction. There are many people who are interested in wrestling, Debbie said. For me, it's a shame because I wanted a tribute to the motion picture industry, but they have the property now. They made the highest bid, and it's theirs. Debbie was having trouble running the hotel, but her dream was that somebody would purchase it and then maybe license her name, you know, hire her to come on board, keep her props on display, and pay her a sum so she didn't have to do the actual running of the casino. But WWE wasn't going to do that. Thumbs up, Debbie, you didn't win. The sevens don't line up. They asked Debbie what she thought would happen to the casino after WWF purchased it. She made a joke about Kenny Kerr, who was a female impersonator at the casino. You can see him there as Cher. Debbie said that maybe Kenny Kerr will do a mud wrestling match at the new hotel. The WWF wanted to level the building and build a 35-story tall wrestling-themed hotel and casino on the spot.
Hotel and casino, memorabilia everywhere. Almost a cathedral for WWE history. It was in a decent location, so it seemed like on the surface it had merit.
Now, at the time, this was during the Mr. McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin feud. And so there was a plan to actually demolish this on a WWE broadcast. Vince would hype up that he had purchased this casino. I have Debbie Reynolds Casino. And then Stone Cold would show up and he'd push the plunger and the casino would be demolished.
Basically, I guess what I'm saying is I'm good at deconstruction. Example of what might happen if anybody gets a little grubby meat hooks on me.
They went ahead and stripped out most of the interior and got it ready for demolition, and then decided that the space really wasn't big enough. So it was sort of renovated back and opened again briefly as the Convention Center Drive Hotel. So in the year 2000, WWE sold off the casino for $11 million, making a profit of about $1 million, and it was sold to the Mark IV Real Estate Group out in Chicago. They spent $1 million renovating the hotel and giving it a Greek theme, and it opened as the Greek Isle Hotel in early 2001.
Just want to show you this this building here. This is the I believe today it's called the Core Insurance Arena. Back in 2001, when WWE purchased WCW from Turner, they were scheduled to hold the first ever WWE WCW show in this building. I don't know if they would have still been WWE. Not enough, and definitely not enough personnel to have the event. So they canceled it, and they never scheduled another one.
Man, this was fun to look back on. I really loved revisiting these moments. Earlier this year, I got to be the only person to play the WWE Interactive Choose Your Own Adventure game in over a decade. And I loved it. I hope you enjoy watching me do it because it's going up right here. Otherwise, YouTube says that one is what is best for you. And I'll see you next time.